Everybody, this is RayD here, coming at you live in the 7th episode of our series, The Local Deck Profiles. And here today I'm actually doing a deck profile of my own. It's one of my favorites. It's something I've been playing ever since I got back into the game, and I am finally getting to showcase my personal build, because mine is definitely a little bit different than others. So anyways, why don't we get right into it? So, starting off with our 3 copies of Soul Eating Oviraptor. It's the Stratos of the deck. Searches any dinosaur monster, or it can Foolish. So, it can play well under Droll. And, just a really good card here. Next, we got 3 Baby Ceratosaurus. Not once per turn, special summon a level 4 or lower dinosaur monster from the deck if it is destroyed by a card effect. Really good effect, and I've got plenty of ways to destroy these things here. Next, we've got a single Petite Pterodon, similar to the Baby Ceratosaurus, except this one specials a level 4 or higher. Now, I've kind of been bouncing between 1 and 2 of these guys, and currently, with the way my deck is built, I'm currently running 1. But still a really good card. If I draw into it, it can still get me exactly, what I need. And just overall, maybe not as good as Baby, but it definitely has its uses. Then we got 2 copies of Animador and Archosaur. Yet again, one of my ways of destroying the babies and extending my plays. This searches the deck's spell card, the Double Evolution Pill, which we'll get into later. 1 Kaiju. This is the new Giant Rex. He searches polymerization from the deck. And when I say the new Giant Rex had an ability to special summon itself from banishment. Kaiju has the same effect, but it can also grab polymerization from grave when it's special summoned that way. So just a really good card. It kind of opened my extra deck to more options, which I'll get into later. And then next, we have one of the best cards in the deck, Miscellaneousaurus. This is the one card in the deck that says Dinos can play the game. And it's especially good going second. I mean, it's good going first too, but this 1 Megalosmasher X, 1 Xenometeorus. Now, some people in their builds, they would rather take Frostosaurus over Megalosmasher X, and I totally get it, because this guy and Frostosaurus can easily make Evilzor Lars or Evilzor Soldo, whichever one they prefer. But I like Megalosmasher X because if I need to, I can normal summon him, and I don't have to worry about tributing anything. And it's also a normal monster, of course, so it falls under the protection of Lost World, which can also extend plays if I need to use my battle phase to combo off, which Dinos can very well do if they have to. And then, of course, Xenometeorus, also really good for extending plays, and it's a level 6 tuner, which is awesome. Could go into the 1 Synchro that's in our extra deck, but anyways, we have 1 Dino Wrestler Pancratops, probably one of the better removal cards in the game. It's basically MST. It can basically play around a lot of things, but skill drain mainly, because this tributes itself for cost. So its effect will still resolve. So say I have this, opponent activates skill drain, tribute this guy, pop the skill drain, and we can just continue our plays as normal. So really good card. I really enjoy having it in the deck. But anyways, on to our boss monster. We play 2 Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Best boss monster in the game, in my opinion. He Book of Eclipses my opponent's entire board and can attack all the monsters once each, send them to the graveyard, burn the opponent for 1,000, and just really good for getting in massive damage. And it's especially good against the lower attack link monsters that can't go into defense position. So say my opponent has an Apo and they've already used up however many monster negates they had with it. So there they've got just a 0 attack Appaloosa sitting there, while this guy hits it for big 3,500 damage, just massive OTK power. Really, really great boss monster. Again, one of the best in my opinion. 2 Dogoron. Oh, wondering why I'm running 2. You'll see in a second, but these are really good. It's searchable off of Ovi, so it's, it beats any towers monster, the Pearly monsters, Raid Raptors, it's also really good removal if you're trying to tribute like an Omni Negate or something. Just excellent removal. And for the next 2, I'm running the Spider Kaiju. And again, you'll see why I'm running these guys. But again, excellent removal, and your opponent can't respond to it because, it's an inherent special summon that tributes the opponent's monster for cost. So again, gets around unaffected towers monsters, gets around, it beats any type of monster that has negating effects and whatnot. Just really awesome. And then the reason why we're running 4 Kaijus in our deck, we are running 2 Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Probably one of my favorite board breakers in this deck. So this deck loves going second. I run 2 Slumber because, number 1, really good for clearing an opponent's board. Number 2, even if it doesn't resolve, it's really good Ash bait. And number 3, it can also extend my play. So say in my hand I've got the baby Ceratosaurus, no other way to extend, but I have Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. So I can summon the baby Ceratosaurus, activate the Slumber, and if it resolves, not only do we special summon a Kaiju to my opponent's field, but my field as well, and then we can activate the effect of Baby Engrave, and if that resolves, it's off to the races. So, awesome board breaker, awesome extender if I need it to be. And so next, 3 Fossil Dig. The Rhoda of Dinos. Not once per turn, and not limited in any sense of the word. So you could open 3 of these, and you're basically set. You're basically set for the entire game if you open 3 of these, unless you get drolled, of course. But not a lot of people are main decking it this format. But Fossil Dig being at 3 is insane. Searches any level 6 or lower dinosaur monster. You can search Ovi, you can search Misk, you can search Baby, you can search pretty much anything that you need to. Next, 3 Lost World. Lost World, amazing card. It's not only is it really good for disrupting the opponent in many ways. So while this token is on their side of the field, and it gets there if I normal or special summon a monster, a dinosaur monster. This token gets summoned to their side of the field, and while that's on the field, they cannot target any monsters on the field with card effects except the token. Also, the token, this guy is really good at extending our plays because I can use this to protect him from any destruction effect, usually activated by me. I can destroy a dinosaur monster from the deck, and usually I'll destroy a baby or something, and that's a really good way of extending the plays. So Ovi and Lost World, for example, is full combo, and it's pretty crazy. Also, the token turns off a lot of things. It turns off Imperm, it turns off Evenly, it turns off the Kashtira monsters. It's really good against the opponent's cards that rely on them having no monsters or no cards on the field to activate their effects. So things like, again, Kashtira Fenrir, Evenly Matched, Imperm, Even Lightning Storm. If they have this on the field, Lightning Storm is turned off, and it's pretty crazy. So like, really one of the best field spells in the game. Then we have 2 copies of Ground Xeno. Ground Xeno is a fantastic extender for the deck. It so lets you add any dinosaur tuner or dinosaur normal monster from deck to hand. Then you destroy 1 card in your hand, and hopefully you have one of the babies, because this can do a lot to extend your plays, and it's also got a neat graveyard effect where you can banish it from the grave and you can fusion summon. So we already run Poly in this deck, and this can give us more ways to fusion summon, and I think that's really cool. It's Ground Xeno, good card. Next, the aforementioned Double Evolution Pill. Very good card for bringing out Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, or if I need to bring out Dino Wrestler Pankratops. That has an application where it can extend our plays via Lost World. If we absolutely need to, we've got many ways to get to full combo. It's just some ways are different than others, but usually I'm bringing out UCT with this because I'm trying to OTK my opponent. But really good card, and can also extend plays with Kaiju Terra and its effect when it's banished. Next, we run 1 Polymerization. Everybody knows what this card does, I hope. Next, we're running 1 Called by the Grave. Called by. What more do I need to say? Next, we've got more board breakers and 2 Cosmic Cyclone. This is really good. It beats Runic, it beats Centurion, it beats anything that's pretty much it beats any combo that relies on their continuous or field spells to be up. It also good removal for things like Skill Drain, anti-spell. If they flip it up, just chain Cosmic and you're good. So really good form of removal. Probably one of my favorites too, because it banishes. So tier cards won't get their effects, because the tier spells and traps need to actually be destroyed, hit the grave to get their effects, and if they're banished, well, don't know what else to tell you. Anyways, 2 Lightning Storm. Really good board breaker. I mean, it's basically either a Regeki or a Feather Duster. Need I say more? But 2 Infinite Impermanence. It's really good because if we're going second, we can either hold it or we can hit the opponent at an important choke point. And also, it's one of the only hand traps that does not turn on Talents and Thrust. So that's another reason I like this card a lot, and that's why I main deck this hand trap over any others. And last but not least in the main deck, 1 Pot of Inquisitiveness. And this is an off-kilter choice for me, but the reason I picked it is because you're basically going free card neutral. It can recur stuff from banishment like Misk, and it also a situational application. This can actually cause Bestial Dissipator to fizzle. So it's it's not the best pot card, but it's definitely one that a lot of people don't expect, and it's really good for banishment recursion, because dinos don't have a whole lot of that other than Overtext Co-Atlas, but who the hell is hard summoning that card, really? Anyways, that is it for the main deck. Let's move on to the extra deck here. So, remember how I was talking about the application of polymerization in this deck? Well, we have 3 fusion monsters. We have Transcendosaurus Gigantozauler, Hornsaurus, and, drumroll please, Guardian Chimera. Yes, Guardian Chimera is now finally playable in Dinos. You know, it's a really good board breaker, and it's also really good for, you know, if you have a monster in hand that's kind of a dead card, you can fuse it off with polymerization, go into Guardian Chimera, destroy cards, and draw cards at the same time. It's also really good for possibly unbricking the hand if you really need it. But it's also a 3300 beat stick, and since polymerization is going to be in your graveyard at the time, you know, they can't imperm, veiler, or do any kind of targeting negation to Guardian Chimera. So it's just just a really good fusion monster. Hornsaurus, this card is crazy, so I'm going to bring this one up close to you. So check out the text on it. So it says, of course you can do extra normal summon, but that's not the effect we're looking at. This says you can place 1 field spell from your deck or graveyard face up in your field zone. So this beats cards like anti-spell that says you can't activate the same turn you set. Or it also beats set rotation that says neither player can activate field spells while there's a set field spell. This actually bypasses both of those cards. You know, such a slept-on fusion monster. The fact that you can search or place any field spell from the deck or grave face up on the field zone. That's just wild. So people can if they're running it, they can in Dinos they can place Secret Village or Diagram, any field spell, even the Seal of Orichalcos, but we're not going to talk about that one. Next, we're running this big guy, a really good graveyard recursion, and he can also break boards too. Like if you special it from the graveyard, you get to add a dinosaur monster from grave to hand, and then you can non-target pop 1 card you control, or 1 card in your hand, and non-target pop a card that your opponent controls. So really, really crazy non-targeting removal. And it's also a 3800 beat stick. It's crazy. Anyways, moving right along, so we'll start with Logia and Dulca. So this is basically a Solemn Judgment, but as a monster. You know, it's literally the same exact text as Solemn Judgment. So literally the only difference is you're detaching 2 materials. And it's not a counter trap, of course. And then we have Dulca. Not once per turn, detach 1, negate the activation of a monster effect, and if you do, destroy it. Crazy cards, you know. And this has applications going second too. So, you know, it beats Yubel. They try and Spirit of Yubel. You know, you can detach, negate, destroy. And if they try and activate their grave effect, you can immediately activate this again to negate that too. So this card is nuts. But moving right along, another one in the Evilzar line. Evilzar Lars, also not a once per turn. It can target any card on the field when your opponent activates an effects and negate its effects till the end of the turn. And if you've got, if all the materials on it are dinosaur and or reptile, you only have to detach 1 material instead of the 2 that it requires. So very, very good going first. It can even be really good going second. A crazy card. The fact that none of these are once per turn is wild. Next, we've got our 2 generic ones. We've got Abyss Dweller and Dugaris the Timeless. Abyss Dweller's mainly for going first, but it has applications going second. And then Dugaris, you know, this is a really good one. It can help you go +1. It can special summon a monster from grave, or it can double the attack of a monster you control. And you can actually use that to beat over towers. So like, say UCT is going against a Raid Raptor monster, this guy can double UCT's attack, and basically them things ain't living. UCT won't care if it's a towers card at that point. But anyways, we've got Anima. Need I explain Anima? Everybody knows what it does. Really good Link 1 if you're running a lot of level 1s in your deck. SP Little Knight. SP, probably one of the best removals in the game as far as Link monsters go. Scrap Wyvern. So you may have noticed I wasn't running any scrap monsters in my main deck, but I have this because I have the scrap monsters in the sideboard for when I go first, but more on that later. Then we have Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep I mainly have in here because I run fusion monsters, and it provides a way to extend my plays by special summoning a monster from the graveyard, so it allows me to go into more XZs or synchro plays or what have you. And just a really good card for doing that. Then we have our last two Link monsters, Nightmare Unicorn and Access Code Talker. Access Code Talker, a really good board breaker, along with Nightmare Unicorn. Shuffles the card into the deck, and that gets around things like, again, Mirror Jade, because if Mirror Jade shuffled back, its effect cannot activate. And Access Code Talker, since I'm a really going second player, this is really good for, going for game, going for big damage. And then last but not least, the replacement for Baron, Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign Xin Yang. Really powerful card. It has the effect where if a card's banished, no matter how it's banished, whether for cost or for effect, you can non-target banish a card in the opponent's grave and field, which is wild removal. So, and this card also gains attack when it's depending on the number of cards banished, and my opponent's monsters lose that same amount of attack and defense. So also, again, really good for maximizing damage output, and also really good non-targeting removal. We have a lot of that in our deck. Last is the sideboard. So, running a lot of hand traps in here. But, we have that because, everything is matchup dependent. So we've got 3 Droll. We've got 2 Ash, 2 DD Crow. Droll, Ash, DD Crow. Need I explain more? This basically kills any deck like Vanadium that searches a lot. This is very versatile hand trap. It hits just about anything. Although I'd say it's not as good in the current format, so I don't typically side this in. But, if you're going against Branded, this is a really good card to side in. And DD Crow, also really good against Branded in any Graveyard Reliant deck. So you use this, you banish, say, Fallen of Albaz, for instance, and that kind of locks them out of what they can fusion summon into once they've got Albion the Branded Dragon on field. So, very, very underrated card in my opinion. Really such a slept-on hand trap. People should play it more. And we've got 2 D Barrier. Again, just excellent matchup against Branded or any synchro heavy deck, or Pearly and Exy's heavy deck. Kind of just beats them instantly. And then we're running the scrap package. And that's why we still have Scrap Wyvern in the deck. So if my opponent makes me go first, and I know they're going to make me, or it's game 3 and I decide to go first, side these bad boys in, and they're really good extenders, although you don't really want to draw into them. That's why we don't have them in this variation of the deck, at least in the main deck, because when you're trying to break your opponent's board, this is one of the last guys you want to see in your hand. Trust me. And then the last three we've got is Lithosagem, Diagram. Both of these cards really good for extending plays, and this can rip 3 monsters with different names out of your opponent's extra deck if both the monsters you destroyed to summon it are Earth. And that can really cause a lot of problems to some people, because a lot of people these days are running one-ofs in the extra deck, and then they have no ways of getting it back. And then we have our time card, Superconductor Tyranno. So you tribute a monster, and you burn them for 1,000, so really good for going into time. And I have a lot of ways I can summon this, whether the pill or with Petite Pterodon. And yeah, just a really funny card, old school, great for going into time. Just burn your opponent for 1,000, and yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. All right, well, guys, I hope you enjoyed my going second Dino Kaiju deck profile. I really enjoy the deck. I've been playing Dinos since pretty much since I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh again, and yeah, that'll be it for today. Hope everyone has a good one. Pass turn.